Hey, good morning and welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is Monday morning, and I have one question. What happened to the weekend? Why do they always go by so quickly? So, anyway, we're going to get it going today. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, chill out with us, and just enjoy the show. So, we're going to talk about a bunch of different things today. We're going to talk about my weekend, going to talk about some highlights in the news, and then get into some topics. So, it should be a fun day. So, hey, Eric, welcome to the show. Welcome for coming in. So Monday morning coffee today with John DeVito, and we're going to sit back, chill, talk about the weekend, talk about some news stories, and then talk about basically, some topics I have in mind. So, but it was a beautiful weekend up here. The weather was great, and sit back and chill and enjoy the show today. I'll be back in a second. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is Monday, 8:22 a.m., so I'm on early today, and this could be a time that I go on a little bit more frequently, so we'll see. This will allow me to maybe get a show in and then go amongst my day for work. So I'm going to test this time out and see how it goes, and maybe even go a little bit earlier. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I hope everyone had a great weekend. It was beautiful up here in Massachusetts, and we had a busy, busy, busy weekend. We had all kinds of things going on. As many of you know, my son Matt went off to college last week. He's doing really well so far, and he wants nothing to do with coming home. So apparently he's happy living on his own, and that's okay, man. That's part of the whole process of, him growing up and being an adult and all that good stuff. So we do miss him, but we're proud of him in the same breath. But now this weekend, on Saturday, my son Ethan, who was my third child, turned 15, and he had a bunch of friends over the house, a bunch of teenagers, and my younger son Brandon had like 5 or 6 of his friends over too. So I didn't really go out and count, but I think we had probably like 20 teenagers and tweens over at the house on Saturday, and they were swimming in the pool and outside playing basketball and doing their thing and celebrating my son's 15th birthday. And I got to say, we're really, really fortunate where we have just a good group of kids in this town where really we didn't have any problems. My wife and I bought the food. We gave them, what they needed. They stayed outside the entire day, swimming, playing sports. And then at night, they sat down by a campfire for a bit and hung out. So it was really cool, for my son to get to experience his his 15th birthday with a bunch of friends. And that was all pretty awesome. So Mike from Tampa Bay, welcome to the show. And then yesterday, oh my God, we had, back to sports again, back to all the activities. So yesterday, my son Ethan had a doubleheader for baseball. He had 2 games that he played. And this year now he's going from 8th grade into 9th grade. And his travel baseball team, his AAU team called the Strike Zone out of Worcester, they're playing in a high school league this fall. So my son Ethan faced 2 19-year-old pitchers on Sunday, and I guess they were pretty good. The team was really good. So they ended up losing both games, and it's good for Ethan to play up and see what the older kids look like. But I mean, a lot of these kids, they play in high school now. And I didn't realize this was a thing, but apparently a lot of students or student athletes, they do a thing and they call it being reclassed. So apparently it's pretty common now for student athletes to literally like stay back a year on purpose, not just for academics, but for athletics. So they have a better chance of playing in college. So there are a lot of kids now that you'll see that are in high school until they're literally 19 or 20 years old and still playing in high school in hopes of getting a scholarship to a big college. So pretty amazing. So my son played against 2 19-year-olds and, hung in there, did his own, did well, held his own, and certainly found out, what it looks like to play against some older kids. And I think he realizes he needs to put some work in. Now, Friday night, amazing. I went to my old high school football game. Like I played football for a high school called Central Catholic in Lawrence, Massachusetts. For those people that live outside the area, it's a football powerhouse for our area. So there's another big football powerhouse about 2 hours away in Central Massachusetts. So my old high school traveled out to Springfield Central High School for a football game. And now Springfield Central, their starting quarterback is the number 1 rated quarterback in Massachusetts. He looks like Lamar Jackson, just an unbelievable quarterback. Their wide receiver is already committed to Boston College. I mean, they were just an incredible team. But then my high school, Central Catholic, their quarterback was unbelievable. He had committed to Colorado State, but then because of the pandemic, they pulled his scholarship. So now he's still looking for a college to play in. and they also had another kid, a tight end, who had committed to Ohio State. Now, this game was a game like I've never seen before. My high school won 67-52, and that's not a basketball game. That's a football game. The quarterback for Central Catholic, his name was Aiden. I can't remember his last name, but he threw and ran for a combined 10 touchdowns in the game. He threw 7 touchdown passes and ran for 3 more. And at any level of football, that is amazing for any athlete to have 10 touchdowns in a game. The only problem this kid has is he is only 5'11", so he's kind of short, for his age, for being a senior, for going to college football. But hopefully the kid finds a place to play, because he was amazing. So great football game. I saw a good old friend of mine, Bob Coe. He was an offensive lineman with me in high school. He's a teacher out in Westfield, Massachusetts now. It was great to catch up with him and just watch a little football again together. Now, Sunday, wrapping up our weekend, my son Brandon also had his second football game of the year. And this was the first real game other than a jamboree that he had played in a few weeks ago. So Brandon, oh my God, this kid, he plays fullback on offense, middle linebacker on defense. And he had a great game on offense. We probably ran the ball, 10 or 15 times, picking up yardage every time. He scored the team's only touchdown and then also ran in the 2-point conversion after the touchdown. So he played a good game on offense, but on defense, he looked like, I don't even know, just like, Dick Butkus at linebacker, or Lawrence Taylor. He had to have, somewhere in the ballpark of like 12 to 15 tackles. He sacked the quarterback right at the end of the game when they were trying to score and win the game. It was a huge play. He recovered a fumble. I mean, he was unbelievable on defense. I was so proud of him to see him, go out and excel in football like that. So I finally have my football player, which is kind of nice. So it was kind of cool to see him out there just kind of kicking butt and, really loving football. The problem with that, though, today is I drove him to school a little while ago, and then I came in and started the show up, and he was pretty sore this morning. That's the one thing about football, man. After you play a football game, your body is hurting for a couple of days. So, but I'm proud of him. All my kids, it's absolutely great. Let's see. What better way to wake up and have a good, sound, solid voice like John DeVito and Ralph? Absolutely. Ralph Williams is an absolute legend on Podbean, and for me to be in here as well, I'm going to try out this time. And it's just, I love being on, in the morning, and I may even go a little bit earlier. We'll see how it goes. So Margaret, welcome to the show, and everybody coming in. Thank you so much. I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. I'd love to see from all of you in the chat what you guys did for your weekend plans. And we're going to talk a little bit about some news headlines, and then we're going to get into talking about a couple of things I have as far as lists, because, I was thinking about Mondays. Monday mornings, man, are brutal, right? For me, waking up on Monday, it doesn't matter if you love your job, if you love your life, if you love everything about it. Monday mornings are just tough because you had a chill weekend, and then you kind of got to get back to business on Monday. So it's one of those things today, like I have to work during the day. And then this afternoon, I'm taking my father to the doctor this afternoon, the heart doctor, to check out his heart to make sure he's doing okay, because he had an issue where he was in the emergency room a couple of weeks ago. So I see Mike from Tampa Bay saying he had basketball practice. Now, was this for you? Was this for your children? Just kind of wondering, what type of practice you had for your daughters. Okay, that's cool. So they're basketball players. I'll tell you, there's nothing better than being a father and watching your kids play sports. And I see Eric saying he prefers me being on at 11:30 in the morning after the old man wraps up. I completely understand. But for me, I have my job, and it makes it very difficult for me to be on the radio during the day because I'm usually working. I would love to have more free time and be able to do that. And, to me, Derek, I'm starting to play with the idea, should I be on early in the morning? Should I be on maybe in the afternoon or night after work? So it could end up that I end up doing shows at night. The one thing with those is I end up having to do them on my earbuds quite a bit. And I don't really love being, on my phone, but usually I'm at one of my kids' sporting events or I'm driving them someplace. So I kind of have to go about it and do it that way. I prefer to be at my desk doing my shows. So anyway, I just want to talk about a few news stories that I was kind of looking through this morning before we get into, talking about one of the lists I have, which I think is kind of funny. Like, if you're looking through the news, did you guys see that North Korea reports a long-range cruise missile test on as their arms race intensifies again? Now, this is something, when Trump was president, we didn't really see North Korea shooting off missiles. You had Trump over there talking to him, trying to broker peace, trying to at least broker some type of an agreement or show of respect with North Korea. But again, as we've seen so many things that have been happening so far with the Biden administration, you got people pouring over the border, you got the situation in Afghanistan, you've got COVID mandates, and now you're back to seeing North Korea testing long range missiles again and things like that. So, man, I don't know about all of you, but I am just looking for something positive right now in this administration. So hopefully things will start to get more positive. But when you start seeing North Korea shooting missiles again and things like that, it just gets you scared. I mean, there's so many things going on in this country now. And welcome, Joet, into the show. I really appreciate you coming over. I say 15 or more percent on car insurance by switching to Geico. Nice. I'll tell you, I was watching one of the Geico commercials yesterday, and I don't know what it is. That stupid gecko, he completely cracks me up. I don't know what it is. I love those commercials. I think they're funny. I can't remember which one I saw in particular yesterday. I think he was eating something, and for whatever reason, I just completely cracked up yesterday watching that. So anyway, it was very funny. So now, did you see also? This is kind of a crazy story, and we're going to see this more and more often, I think, as these mandates start to happen, the vaccine mandates. Now, in Lewis County, a hospital has stopped delivering babies because all of their unvaccinated staff quit. I mean, can you imagine that? And I tell you, I think we're going to see more and more of this as times goes on, as these vaccination mandates are pushed, and you have employees that are making that decision. Do I get vaccinated at the tell of the federal government, or do I quit my job, or get terminated? So apparently this hospital will no longer be delivering babies. So the mothers coming in that have been working with doctors that have been preparing to deliver their babies at this particular hospital, they are now out of luck and need to find a new place to have their babies delivered, because the hospital will no longer be delivering babies after all the staff quit with the mandates. So just kind of crazy stuff that's going on in this country right now. It's really just a confusing time. And I don't know. I'm just, I'm ready for things to change. Hopefully, maybe in 2022, when we have the midterm elections, maybe we'll see some change in this country, and hopefully, see some of these things change as we hopefully get maybe a little bit more balance in our government. Now, did you see also, they were saying Dr. Fauci, good old Lord Fauci, is coming out and saying it may take many, many more vaccine mandates to end the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't think this administration, I don't think our president, and I don't think Dr. Fauci actually is getting what is happening in this country right now. I mean, we have numerous states that are planning on suing the federal government. You are seeing, they've already lost the Republicans. I mean, there's no doubt. I don't know if Biden ever had the Republicans. He preached he wanted unity, but he's done nothing during his presidency to show that he actually wants unity. But if you look at the Democrats now, he's losing the Democrats also. The Democratic Party is dropping him. I mean, his approval rates are down in the 30s. Very few people are approving of the way he is running this country right now. And I don't think Biden and his administration are in touch with how the American people are feeling right now. And I think this is going to be a situation where you are going to see the Republican Party take over, the presidency. You're going to see them take over, Congress. You are going to see them take over this country again, because people are so unhappy with the way the Democratic Party is using these Gestapo techniques to just kind of run these things down our throat. And it's just unbelievable. And I see some of the comments in here, Mike. I just think it's way too much of an overreach when it comes to our health and bodies with the mandate. It is. I get it. I understand the point of the people that are pushing the vaccine mandates. I do. I understand that we're in a pandemic. I understand that people are dying. I understand that people, are most likely safer by taking the vaccine. And I do believe that. But for me, when you look at the mandates, it is taking away the ability for people to make decisions about their own bodies. And you just can't do that. You can't take away people's rights. And I think that one of the main problems that Biden and his administration have is you have a vast majority of Americans that just don't trust him. They don't trust him. They don't trust the American government. They don't trust the United States of America anymore. Dr. Love Radio, welcome to the show. Good to see you again. So that's one of the major problems I think we have in this country right now. There's a trust issue between the American people and its government. And when I say and its government, I don't say just the Democratic portion of the government. I think all of government. I think people are not trusting their government. The people in this country believe that the government has sinister intentions. They don't trust them. And that's a real problem for the American people and for this government. So I don't think you're going to get a complete vaccine, percentage that they want, Number one, by forcing it on people, because you're going to see people walk away from their jobs. You're going to see people walk away from their obligations. And I think, unfortunately, that is going to hurt the economy. So I think Joe Biden is in a very difficult place. And I think part of the problem he's in that place is because he hasn't established trust with the American people, so it's just crazy. So hopefully we can figure out some common ground. We need to unite as a people. And, as I mentioned that, I had a really cool moment on Saturday morning. Now, let me explain this to you really quickly. This was kind of cool. So, my son Ethan and Brandon went to hitting practice. They work with a professional hitting coach for baseball to help them become better hitters. So they do it at their strike zone location, which is their travel baseball team. And this guy's a college baseball coach, a hitting instructor, and really helps them with their technique. So it's in a rough part of the city. So I dropped my kids off. I had an hour to wait. So I didn't want to drive home because by the time I get home, I got to turn around and come back. So I parked my car in the parking lot across the street. It was a nice morning, and I decided to go for a walk through this park where the kids are playing football. So I'm walking through the park, and I'm going over to a football stadium to see if there was a game going on so I could sit there for 40 minutes and just watch football. SPY, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming in. If you're new here, please follow my show. If you could also please share my live, I would greatly appreciate it. If you haven't done it already, please share it. That gets me pod points, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for that. So anyway, I was walking across this park in the inner city, and I see this kind of tough looking, African-American gentleman coming at me. He looked like, he could have been a gang member, inner city, real tough looking guy. Ansi, welcome to my show. Thank you for coming in. So I'm walking by him and I'm looking at him, but I'm kind of a big guy, so I'm not like terrified of him. Vinny, welcome to the show. So I see the guy and he looks up at me and he goes, "What's up, my brother?" And I look back at him. I'm like, "Nothing, my brother. What's up with you?" And I put my hand out, he put his hand out, and we fist bumped each other walking through, this park. And here he is, kind of this inner city African-American gentleman. Here I am, this suburban white guy. And, we gave a little greeting, we gave a little fist bump. That literally made my weekend. It really did, because for me, I was thinking about that all day on Saturday. And it made me think about how we need more of that in this country. We need more of that in this world, where people of different races, people of different colors, people of different backgrounds can get together and find common ground and learn how to get along and learn how to be friends. Maricela, welcome to the show. Now, one thing I will say about the younger generation. Now, I'm Gen X, so my kids are Gen Z. They kind of skipped over the millennial generation. But one thing I will say about millennials and Gen Z is they are a lot more inclusive of people than generations of the past. I mean, when you look at Gen X, when you look at boomers, when you look at people like that, sometimes those people have some of the racial stereotypes and have racial issues more than this younger generation. And I love the fact that when you have Gen Z and you have millennials who are forming friendships with people of different races, people of different colors, people of different backgrounds, people of different sexual preferences, then you see that this generation is working on unity. They're working to put those old things in the past where they belong and focus on having meaningful relationships with good people, not just people based on what they are or who they are or what they look like. So for me, that little moment in the park was really a special moment for me, where you had these two guys that normally in the past maybe would not have said hello to each other. And it was a small little thing where he said hey to me. I said hey back. We exchanged a little fist bump. And I'm willing to bet you, as he walked by, he felt pretty good about that interaction also. So that was pretty cool, I thought. So anyway, cutting through the news a little bit more. Did you see that DeSantis is starting to milk those out-of-state travel to lay the possible 2024 foundation? Now, I know I've got some Republicans in here, and if there's Democrats too, also please respond. I'd like to hear from everybody. We don't judge anybody in here, okay? This is a judgment-free zone, like Planet Fitness. So judgment-free, and we don't sound an alarm when someone makes a comment we don't agree with, like Planet Fitness does. But anyway, so DeSantis looks like he's putting his feelers out there to run for president. I do think in 2024 it's probably going to be Trump running for president if he is healthy. I mean, a lot of people want Trump to come back, but we may end up in a situation if Trump runs again. I mean, he could be like Biden. I mean, Biden is obviously demented. Biden has cognitive issues. He's not prepared to run this country because he's old and he's got some memory issues. I mean, Trump's going to be about the same age by the time 2024 comes around. I mean, I want Trump. I would love to see him come back. But if he is not ready, if for whatever reason Trump were to die, if Trump, becomes demented like Biden, who would be the next choice? Would it be DeSantis? Would it be somebody else? And look at that. Doss is in the house. Welcome to the show, Doss. I love your brother. So I'm thinking so too. So they're saying that DeSantis is putting his feelers out there, and you never know. It could be almost a Trump DeSantis ticket. And if that happens, then that might not be a bad thing if Trump ends up getting into office and he has some cognitive issues or deals with dementia like Biden's doing right now. Then you would have DeSantis that could come up as a vice president. I think that's one of the big concerns with Joe Biden right now is if you look at him and you look at Kamala Harris, I don't know if she's going to be a good president. And don't say it's because she's a woman. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm not like that. You all know me. I'm married to a doctor. I like smart, powerful women. I have no issues with intelligent women. I prefer intelligent women. I just don't know if Harris is the right leader. I don't think she is presidential material. For me, I would love to see a Candace Owens get out and run for president at some point because I think she's brilliant. She's beautiful. She's intelligent, and she would make an excellent president. So hopefully at some point we'll see her run in the future. She's still a young woman. I don't think old enough quite yet to run for president, but she would be this time around coming up. So Seth, welcome to the room. Welcome to everybody coming in. If you're new with my show, please follow my show. And please share my live if you could. I would greatly appreciate it. We started the show by talking about my weekend. It's Monday morning. What happened to the weekend. We talked about my busy weekend plans with my 4 kids. We had 2 baseball games, a football game. My son Ethan had his 15th birthday party in our house Saturday with 15 or 20 teenagers at our house, and we did survive that. So that was a good thing. So we also talked about the football game I went to Friday night, where the quarterback of my old high school, Central Catholic in Lawrence, Massachusetts, the kid threw and ran for a combined 10 touchdowns in a 67-52 football win. The kid was unbelievable. He threw for 448 yards, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone score a combined 10 touchdowns in one game. He was just unbelievable. So that was fun this weekend. So then we got into talking about some news stories. And another thing I want to talk about today, he might be Juice and Doss. And I got to talk about that in a second also. I'm glad you mentioned that. But one thing I'm going to talk about after we get done with our news stories here is I'd like to hear from some of you. And you can even start now. Tell me what some of your pet peeves are. I was thinking about pet peeves over the weekend. Things in life that really annoy you, pet peeves, like, someone that chews with their mouth open or someone that doesn't flush the toilet. I have so many pet peeves that bug me. And I'm just kind of curious if any of you guys have any things that really bug you. It's kind of a good thing to talk about on a Monday morning. Let's get those pet peeves out of the way and hopefully people hear them and kind of stop doing them. So anyway, looking at the news, did you see there's another tropical storm coming up? They're saying Texas may get up to 20 inches of rain. So it's called Tropical Storm Nicholas is nearing the Texas coast. And I can't even imagine 20 inches of rain. That's going to cause widespread flooding and all that good stuff. So it's just kind of crazy stuff going on right now in this country. But now, Doss, you brought up juicing when I was talking about football. Now, I played football, Jesus, how long ago was it now? 30 years ago? It's been a long time. Hey, dear Shy Lock, welcome to the show. So I'll get to the pet peeves in a second. But juicing. Now, do you remember when Jose Canseco came out in the major leagues and told everybody that everybody in the Major League Baseball, was taking steroids? And everybody was like, oh, no way. People aren't taking steroids. MLB, no way. I played at a 1AA football college 30 years ago, University of Rhode Island. So it wasn't Penn State, it wasn't Notre Dame, it wasn't Boston College. It was 1AA football, University of Rhode Island. And I would say probably 80 to 90% of our team was on steroids back in the day. So, and I being one of them until my father caught me and almost killed me, and I ended up stopping. So for the guys in the NFL right now, you look at someone like Tom Brady, and I love Tom Brady. He's my favorite quarterback. I still love Tom Brady. But if you told me that, he was on performance enhancing drugs, I wouldn't even think twice about it. Of course he is. He's 45 years old. He looks like he's 25. He plays like he's 25. You cannot tell me this is because of his diet regimen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But how he's done it, he's found the fountain of youth. And I'm guessing it's probably performance enhancing drugs. So let me scroll back. I'm going to talk about pet peeves in a second. Before that, I want to talk about one more thing, but I don't want to miss any of these comments up here that have been scrolling through. So, all right, Mike from Tampa Bay, one of his pet peeves is not putting the toilet seat down. I agree with that. But let me ask you this question now. Now, when women go to the bathroom, and I don't know if I have any women in here, it's usually a sausage fest in my show, but why don't women have to put the seat up when they're done? I mean, for me, you have to go in, you have to put the seat up, you have to pee, and then you have to put the seat back down. Now, I've got three boys, and I know my three boys like to test their aim. So they leave the toilet seat down and they try to piss from a distance, and they always pee on the seat. And that's going into Mike's next thing is peeing on the toilet seat and these not at least wiping it up first. My boys do that all the time. It's like a game for them. See how far away you can pee and get it in the toilet. And none of them ever wipe off the seat. I yell at them, I scream at them, I talk to them. There's no reasoning with these boys and cleaning off the damn toilet seat after you pee on it. So for a woman, they always say they want us to put the seat down. And I get it, you don't want to go sit and have a splash in the middle of the night and fall into the toilet. But if I was a woman, I would want men to put the seat up and leave the seat up, because if that seat was up, then any other man coming in there is not going to put it down because they're lazy, but at least they won't pee on the seat and you won't have to sit down into a big pile of wetness on the toilet seat. So nothing is worse than if I get up in the middle of the night and I have to sit down, not to give you that horrible visual, but nothing worse than hitting that toilet seat and realizing the person before you had peed on the seat and they didn't wipe it. It's just like, oh, I just sat in someone else's urine. Horrible. So unbelievable. And hey, one more thing before I get to more of the pet peeves, I have to call myself out. All right. I told you about my health issue that I had recently. Over the years, I've gained some weight, gotten a little heavy. For those of you who've seen my pictures, you know that. Every time my wife had a baby, she put on pregnancy weight, and we had 4 kids. I'd put it on with her because it would be like, John, I want some ice cream. So I'd go out and get ice cream. And of course, we'd both eat it. So I'd go out, I'd get the ice cream. We'd both eat it. She'd put on pregnancy weight. I'd put it on with her, but she would lose the pregnancy weight. I would not. So I kept the pregnancy weight going for many, many years. I went into the doctor a couple weeks ago and found out my blood pressure was dangerously high. So I decided I'm not going on a diet. I'm going on a lifestyle change, which I've done over the last almost 3 weeks now. As of this morning, I've lost 15 pounds and my blood pressure is down to a reasonable rate. My goal is to lose probably 50 pounds, if not more. But I'm off to a good start. And I want all of you, when you come into my show, call my ass out and make me tell you how I'm doing on my diet. I'm telling everybody I know, so everyone's asking me, and I can't let anybody down with my diet. So I want all of you to call me out. I know Doss won't mind. And see, Doss now, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Doss is one of his pet peeves are fat people on scooters at department stores, and they should be catapulted into the ocean. All right, that's a good one. I like that. That's a good one. I don't know where I saw this, but I saw I saw a TikTok video of a woman, I think, going into a Walmart, and she was sitting on a scooter and she was trying to ride into the Walmart. So the automatic door opened, and literally her butt was so big, she could not fit through the door at Walmart. Her butt was so wide that it literally hit both sides of the door going in. And it was horrible. So, I mean, I felt pretty bad for her, but I'm sorry, it was kind of funny. So definitely that's a good pet peeve. I agree with you. And those people also are the people that seem to be very entitled also about things. They expect you to do everything for them. I'm sure a lot of them are getting food stamps, that type of thing. So, let's see. Jose Canseco, can't believe that I said his name. Oh, I did too, dude. Jose Canseco was literally my favorite baseball player. I loved him. Back when they had the Oakland A's, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire, the Bash brothers, they were unbelievable. And, he was only doing what everybody else did. So I don't really hold it against him. I still like, he was an amazing talent as a baseball player. So let's see. Mike for Tampa Bay. Hey, don't knock fat people on scooters. Sometimes we identify fat girls we date like riding a scooter. They're fun to ride, but you don't want your friends seeing it. Oh boy, we're going down that road. Now, for me, I'm someone that believes women are beautiful no matter what. And I'm saying this not as a joke. I know some of you are going to be waiting for the punchline, but for me, I like all types of women. I think all women are beautiful. And, again, sometimes you do have women that are a little bit heavy. And when I was younger, maybe I didn't do, the best thing sometimes when it came to that. And you want to hear something horrible? This is how terrible it was when I was younger. In college, I wasn't really in a fraternity, but I used to hang out at this fraternity all the time. I played football, just didn't have time to be in a fraternity. So the fraternity would let us in. And they used to have a thing, and this is terrible, and I'm not going to mention the fraternity, but they used to have a thing called a purple pig contest. And the fraternity brothers would literally go out and see who could score the ugliest, heaviest chick. And whoever basically scored the ugliest, heaviest chick would receive some type of trophy in the fraternity. They'd get like a monetary award, and they'd get other things handed to them. So, I mean, to me, thinking back in the day, I mean, I can't believe that they did that. And, I'm not going to say whether or not I participated or not, but I'll leave that out for all of you to figure out. But for me now, it's just, I don't know. Women, the more I've gotten older and the more I understand women, to a degree, I guess, is it amazes me that when you speak to a woman, whether it's, a woman that you might perceive as not being as attractive or a woman that you would perceive to be a 10 as drop dead gorgeous, they all think kind of the same way, where none of them really feel down, inside that they're beautiful. And that always shocks me because you see women that are drop dead gorgeous. They're talking about, I'm not perfect here, I'm not perfect there. I mean, first of all, nobody's perfect, but women, they really struggle with, self-esteem in a lot of different ways. And it really sucks for women because women are so judged on their looks and things like that. I feel bad a lot that that's kind of how things go because you can look at a man. I mean, here I am, in all my splendor, 275 pounds. I'm bald, I'm hairy, and I take my shirt off as proud as the day I was born at the beach, and I don't give a shit. So it doesn't matter. I don't care. So I think women sometimes need to adopt that attitude that men have where we just don't give a damn, really sometimes how people view us. And I think for women, it's just a little bit harder. So anyway, let's see. Women trained you. That's why it annoys me. I get you. No, I get it. I get it. Because as men, I guess the stronger sex taking the extra effort. Yeah, it's true. Well, I tell you, men are the stronger sex physically, but women, man, women are tough. Women are tough mentally. Women are tough in a lot of different ways. And, I don't know. I look at women as being very, very strong. Men are in one way too. And I think what's been kind of shitty in society is men haven't been allowed to be strong for quite some time. I mean, we are kind of put down. We're being emasculated in society. We're being told if you're masculine, you're a toxic male and things like that. And it's funny. I think most women really want a masculine man. They want a man that can not take control but be a protector and be a real man. And it's kind of funny, for whatever reason toxic male has been assimilated to manly men who for some reason are being considered abusive. For me, a manly man would never touch a woman. I mean, I am 53 years old. I have never laid my hands on a woman, and I would never do that. Now, there may be people that have done that. I'm not calling anybody out for being wrong. I mean, things happen, and people make mistakes, but I have never done that. I would never do that. And for me, a manly man is someone that's a protector, someone that protects his family, protects his wife, doesn't control his wife, but protects his life. So Doss, he sits down when he pees because he likes the way the cool water feels on my cock. Well, Doss, that's my problem. When I sit down, I have to have like a warming element in the toilet water because my bags generally hang down in the water. And those, if the water's cold, you get your bags hanging down there, then it's kind of uncomfortable. So you got to be careful of letting your bags drop in the water. There's no doubt that can be a very uncomfortable feeling. So, so now what if the woman identifies as a man and starts shit? It's okay to hit them then, right? That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm confused by that whole thing. I'm not sure if you can do that or not. So let me get into this list. I found a list that I thought was kind of funny. We're talking pet peeves. Let's get on this list. I'm not going to read them all because this list has like 100 things on it. But I thought these were funny because I was thinking about pet peeves this morning. Even welcome to the show. And I'm just kind of on a Monday morning, I'm kind of annoyed. So let's run through these quickly and see what you guys think. So number one, micromanagement. I hate micromanagement. I hate when you work for a boss, work for a company, or if even you're in a relationship and someone is micromanaging it, managing you. It's like, I've lived on this life for this long. I don't need to have you tell me how to wash a dish. I don't need to have you tell me this is how I need to write a note. Let me friggin' do my job, live my life without micromanaging every move. Now, how about this one? This is one that does get me. Loud chewing or drinking. I think that's gross. When you go like to a restaurant and you got someone, chomping on their food, mouth open, that is definitely a pet peeve of mine. So I would agree with that one. PBG, how you doing? Welcome to the show. And if anybody else has any pet peeves, list them in the chat down there. I will read these off. All right, this is a huge one for me. Being late. Oh my God. I am obsessively on time, obsessively to the point where I think my wife's pet peeve is being early because I am 10 to 15 minutes early for everything, a movie, a party, whatever it may be. And I think this relates to me playing football because if you were on time, you'd run. And my father was in the military. So being on time was very, very important. People who are late drive me nuts. I used to have this one girlfriend in college, hot girlfriend. She was a cheerleader in college, very pretty girl. but literally she would tell me, I'll be at your house at 7. She'd roll in at like 8:30. And I'd be like, I was ready at like 6:45. And here you are at 8:30 showing up. And she would get so mad at me for being angry. And I'm like, dude, I sat here for an hour and a half waiting for you. And that used to just kind of annoy the crap. Yeah, Doss, where were you today? You were late for the show. I don't care if my show's at 4:00 in the morning. You get your ass in here. So, no, I appreciate all you being here. So, number 4, and I hate to say it, I do this quite a bit when I have callers in. I can't help it. I think it's my adult ADD, but interrupting, that's something I do all the time. So to all of you out there that I've interrupted, I apologize. I don't do it on purpose, and I will try to do it less. I do, Mike, I know, and I can't help it. I can't let anybody finish a sentence. I try not to do it, but I just can't slow down. I am going to get better at that. All right, number 5, talking during a movie. I don't do that, and this drives me nuts. I have one friend that I go to movies with. I know, Eric, you're right. I can't. I need like ADD medication or something. But talking during a movie, I have one friend that I go to the movies with, and he's kind of funny because he drinks a lot at the movies also. He brings all these nips in with him and drinks at the movies. And then he will not just whisper during a movie, he like regular voice talks all throughout a movie. Like we'll be sitting there watching the movie, all of a sudden, oh, did you see that? And it'd be loud voice. And you can see people all around us getting annoyed and aggravated. And he literally talks through the whole thing. It's just really funny. But that's just what he does. So let's see. Doss, damn right, Mike. Oh, sporting cargo shorts right now. Dude, I knew you were a fashion plate. That's amazing. So, all right, people who walk slow. I walk slow, so that one doesn't bother me. Staring at someone's phone. So if someone is looking at your phone, I guess that's considered to be a pet peeve. Yeah, I really don't do that. I don't even look at my phone. Oh, clipping your nails in public. This is a good one. Here's a good story for you guys. I have a friend that I'm still very good friends with back in high school. This kid got suspended from school. Okay, you ready for this story? Now, imagine what you would do if you were in this high school class. He was in high school, very good student, high on a roll, smart kid, not a lot of common sense sometimes, but he was sitting in the front of the class wearing sandals, and he stood up without asking the teacher, walked to the front of the classroom, grabbed the trash can, brought the trash can back to his seat, and started clipping his toenails in front of the whole class while the teacher was teaching. So the teacher literally stopped in the middle of his lesson and looked at him and said, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so, what the hell are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I need to clip my toenails." And the teacher looks at him and goes, "You decided to do that in the middle of my class while I was teaching." He looks at him and goes, "Get the hell out of my room." And the kid's like, "What? What did I do?" He's like, "You're clipping your toenails in my class. Go to the office." I love that story. That's one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. So I remember my buddy telling that story for years. And I mean, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but I could see exactly why that teacher threw him out. And you can imagine that teacher going home and speaking to his wife that night going, "You aren't going to believe what this kid did in my fucking class today. He clipped his goddamn toenails into a trash can in my class." So very funny. So let's run through a few more of these. Standing too close to another person. That's a good one. Talking to someone with headphones in. That is annoying. I hate when people see that I have my headphones in or my earbuds in, and then they start talking to me. I have to pull it out, turn my music off. That is annoying. Turning without signaling. That's something that happens here in Massachusetts. I'm sure Doss can comment on that. And here we call not turning it without signaling, but turning it without putting on your blinker. Here we call the left and right turn signals in the car the blinker. So if you turn left or right without putting your blinker on, that is definitely poor etiquette. Slow internet, that sucks. Slow drivers, that sucks. Staring at people. I had one friend that used to uncomfortably stare at girls all the time. He had no social skills whatsoever. So we'd be at a bar when we were younger. We'd be hanging out, and he would literally just stare at women, just gawk at them. 100-yard chemist, welcome to the show. And he would just stare and stare and stare and stare to the point sometimes where women would come over and be like, "What are you looking at? Why are you staring at me?" He would not stop looking. So it was just kind of creepy. All right. Talking with your mouth is full. That's definitely a pet peeve of mine. Saying no offense after saying something insulting. Oh, I'm going to give a laugh at that one. This is a good one. Saying no offense after something insulting. So if you walk up to someone, you haven't seen him in 20 years, and from high school, you walk up and you're like, "Jesus Christ, I haven't seen you since high school. My God, you're fat. How much weight have you put on?" No offense. I mean, no offense doesn't give you a pass on when you say something like completely offensive, like, "Oh my God, your nose is huge. You must be able to smell like bacon from 2 miles away." No offense. I mean, you can't do that. You can't. That does not give you a pass just because you say no offense afterwards. That would crack me up. That one's funny. So, all right, leaving the water running. Yeah, dudes. leaving the water running. My friggin' kids, I've got my 15-year-old that takes like hour and a half showers. And in Rutland, Mass, we pay for our water bills. So last quarter, ready for this? Last quarter, my water bill was $844 for 3 months. We don't water our lawn. We didn't have to this summer. It rained the whole summer. So that's no lawn watering. That is just flushing the toilet, using the water in the house, using the dishwasher, using the washer and dryer, and showers. $840 for my water bill. And man, that's all he does. So literally, I just banned the upstairs shower from my kids. They have to take all showers now downstairs in the downstairs shower, so they can't lay down in the shower and hang out there for like an hour. And I won't talk about what he's probably doing in there, but we'll let that go. So Vasti, welcome to the show. Cracking knuckles, another pet peeve. Yeah, that one kind of bugs me. Tapping a pen, that's annoying. Correcting grammar or pronunciation. I hate grammar Nazis. Those kind of completely annoy me. So that's one. Does the upstairs toilet clog less than the downstairs toilet? We don't have a lot of clogs in that toilet. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we have good toilets or the DeVito family just normally takes small bowel movements. I'm not sure what it is, but we don't get a lot of toilet clogs in our house, which is a good thing because I hate unclogging a toilet. So you don't say grammar Nazis. You say grammatical error, sir. All right. Repeating literally in every sentence. Yeah, I have a friend that does that. Leaving dirty dishes in the sink. We have a big pile of them in our sink right now that I need to do sometime today in between work. Dog owners not picking up after their pet. All right, this is one here. I'm gonna talk about this one. So for people that have dogs, I have 2 dogs. We have Molly and Brady. We have a golden retriever and we have a black lab. And I will admit that this is something I do regularly. I don't know why I have to pick up the shit of my dogs. All right. These are my dogs. I am their master. They live in my house. I feed them. I give them a place to live. They lay around all day. They don't do shit. So then when finally I get home from work and I'm tired, I have to take my dogs for a walk and I have to pick up their shit also. You know what? Either number one, they need to learn how to pick up their own shit, or the people that are angry about it can shut up. I'm not carrying a bag around with me and I'm not picking up dog shit. So I'm sorry. I know that there are a lot of people out there who are going to hate me for this, but I refuse. I will not pick up my dog shit. I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to change and I'm not going to do it. So for those of you that get mad at me and you've been wondering where those piles of shit are coming from in your front yard, it may or may not be me, but I'm not going to confirm that. So, but I agree that is annoying, but I am one that does it. So pushy salespeople's another. Pessimism, another one. Being told to calm down. Let me ask you this question. Bryn, welcome to the show. When have you ever told a person who was angry to calm down and it worked? Right? Exactly. Calm down. As soon as someone tells me to calm down, if I'm at a level 5, I'm going immediately to a 7 or an 8, right? Immediately, Mike. Exactly. My wife has done that before. She's like, John, calm down. It's like, what? Don't tell me to calm down right away. Don't ever say calm down. It's only going to elevate the person. So if you want to piss somebody, exactly, like let the peacock feathers go up, baby. You tell me to calm down, the feathers are going up. I'm ready to fight. I'm in fight mode. Do not tell me to calm down, and you should never tell anybody to calm down because point blank, it does not work. It does not work. Passive aggressive comments. That's another good one. Hey, listen, if you're new in here, please follow my show. Please share my live. I would greatly appreciate it. And we're going through some pet peeves. If you have any pet peeves that really drive you crazy, I'd love to see you put them in the chat. So please put some of your pet peeves in. I will try to read them off. And I'm just kind of going through a list that I think is kind of funny. All right, so passive aggressive comments. I hate people that do that. You're a nice guy, but you're kind of fat. I don't like passive aggressive comments. So waiting for an elevator, that doesn't really bother me. Children crying on planes, that is annoying, but I had 4 kids that all cried on planes. So I can't complain about anybody else's kids crying on planes because I'm sure we pissed off a lot of people. Sneezing or coughing without covering your mouth, that's a good one. Excessive public displays of affection. Okay, here we go. Up in New Hampshire a few years ago, we were at Lake Winnipesaukee, and we were walking from the beach area of Weirs Beach up to our condo. And we walked by this little restaurant, and behind this restaurant was this giant parking lot that they never even used like a quarter of this parking lot. So as we got to the back side of this parking lot, I'm walking with my wife, and we got our 4 kids who were young at the time, and we're walking along, and all of a sudden we see this little car in the back of the parking lot. I think you all know where I'm going here. So I see the car moving, the car's like rocking, the car's bouncing. I'm like, oh no. So I literally walk like within, I don't know, 10 feet of the car. My wife and my kids are off to the right a little bit. I see this girl on top of a guy in the car. They're going to town with each other right out in the middle of the day, open daylight, right in the car, no tinted windows. They're just going at it right in the middle of the parking lot. So, I mean, they were like right in the middle of it. And I'm like, holy shit. So, I think when they say excessive public displays of affection, they're probably thinking about kissing and hugging. I saw the whole thing happening right in front of me. And what was really embarrassing, I felt bad for the people because I actually happened to have a beach chair with me. So I actually put my beach chair down and watched them finish. Oh, so that was I don't know if they expected that, but when the guy really got going, I was cheering him on, trying to be supportive, and I tried to be a team player, which was good. They didn't invite me into the car, but my wife probably would have been mad if they had anyway. So, all right, next thing on the list, asking nosy questions, littering, cutting people off when driving. That happens all the time in Boston. But I got to say, people always complain about Boston drivers. There is nothing worse on this planet than Florida drivers. Mike from Tampa Bay, I'm sorry, but the people in Florida drive like fucking maniacs. Maniacs. I'm from Massachusetts, and they call us horrible drivers. I get down there, and I can't hang with the Florida drivers, man. You guys are crazy down there. Just, you don't care. 100 miles an hour in the left lane, dodging in and out of cars. I mean, I've seen so many accidents down there when I'm traveling. Man, Florida, the people just drive fast, and they drive crazy. All right, so we're going to do a few more of these. Smacking your gum is another one. Laughing loudly. Laziness, bragging, biting nails. These are all pet peeves. Blasting music, eating someone else's food, snoring. That's a pretty big one for me. I snore like a buzzsaw, and my poor wife can't sleep. Saying, I'm sorry you feel that way. Eating smelly foods in public. Looking at your cell phone when someone else is talking. Not taking responsibility for things. Hey, leaving the toilet seat up. There it is.